Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger, 103.3 FM. We head to the Pearl Shreveport hotline and welcome in our featured speaker from the Independence Bowl Kickoff Dinner about a week ago now, who gave one of the best speeches we've seen at the event. She is the preeminent sideline reporter and kind of do-it-all for ESPN, Holly Rowe. Holly, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I'm so sorry I'm a little late. I apologize.
It's not like there's anything going on these days. So we certainly understand being busy. Speaking of, it's talking season. We're about to really get into things. What are you doing for talking season?
It's so crazy. I'm not talking that much right now because I'm right in the middle of my WNBA season. So I just finished the WNBA All-Star game.
Right.
Where All-Stars played Team USA. So I know football stuff is all going on. The Big Ten Media Day, ACC Media Days are going on this week. We had SEC last week in Dallas. And that has been talking season. But I tell you, I've been super swamped because I'm busy covering Caitlin Clark right now. After I saw you, the very next day, I went to SEC Media Day, and then Caitlin was playing in Dallas. And she had 19 assists in the game and broke a new WNBA record for assists. Not by a rookie, by anyone ever. So I've been a little hectic, but it's been super fun.
It's interesting because when you're in football, basketball, typically it's okay. The season ends. Maybe you're doing baseball, softball. Season ends in kind of May, June, and it's like, all right, July, August, at least all of July, and then some of August you get to have a little time off. Well, you don't get any time off, Holly. When do you have a vacation? What are you working year round? Like, how do you recharge yourself?
Yeah, I do work year round, but I have little pockets. So after the College World Series ends in June, I get a few weeks off. Although I did have WNBA this year, but it's so funny. I just feel like that's not even work, so I don't count that. But then I went to Croatia for a week this year. And then I am off right now for the next 3 weeks because of the Olympic break.
Oh, nice.
But I'm going to go to the Olympics and cheer on Team USA in women's basketball and go to 3 medal games, hopefully, if they keep winning. So my work is my play. It's not work at all. I just want to go watch good basketball in the Olympics, so I'm going to go to Paris.
You talked a lot about that, and our friend Tim Brando has always said to me, look, the sports is what we do is the sandbox of life, right? We're out there, we're having a good time, we're getting to enjoy play. I mean, they're playing a game, for goodness sakes, and I kind of admired the fact that you have kept that mentality throughout your entire career because, work is work, but if you enjoy what you're doing, as they say, you don't work a day in your life. What has that been like to be able to work in a field that you already enjoy so much?
Well, I think that's why I work in this field. Sports have been my passion since I was 5 years old. I was talking to somebody from the Fiesta Bowl recently, and we were talking about BYU playing Arizona State in the Fiesta Bowl in 1976. And I was, at that time I would have been 10 years old, and I can remember the game. I remember who the quarterback was for BYU. I remember Arizona State kicked their butt. He got hurt with collarbone. Like, think about this. I'm a 10-year-old little girl, and I can pull up these details of a bowl game in 1976, So I don't know. It's just been my lifelong passion. I love it so much. So I agree with Tim. I have never worked a day in my life except for travel. Sometimes travel gets a little sketchy. I came home from the All-Star game on Sunday, and I got stuck in the airport for 17 hours, as part of this whole IT upgrade debacle.
Yeah.
So that I do feel like I was working Sunday to keep my sanity in the airport.
Yeah, the travel is the worst part, and that's kind of what's cool about you've covered Caitlin Clark now for several years and kind of been at her hip. To watch just travel alone, what she's done in the WNBA. And obviously, being as close to Caitlin as you are, I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on how she has sort of upped the level of recognition that the WNBA should have already had, but hadn't to the level that she has brought it now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. All these eyes should have been on the W for years. But I don't want to be one of those negative people and act like, well, what have you guys all been doing? You should have been watching all along. What I want to say is welcome now. Welcome. You are going to see the best basketball in the world. The women are incredible. Our All-Star game between Team USA and the WNBA All-Stars was absolutely electrifying. Arike Agumbawale scored 34 points in the second half alone.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like to say to people is maybe you are coming for Caitlin or Angel Reese, but you'll fall in love with everyone else. And I have a very personal example of this. I have a little 10-year-old nephew. He hasn't cared 1 second of his life what I do for a living. He doesn't care if I'm on TV. It's just been his whole life. So that's what his aunt does. He went to the All-Star game with me this year. He had handmade in magic marker a little Caitlin Clark jersey. He wanted to meet Caitlin. He was freaking out to meet Caitlin. It has engaged and enraptured little kids and people who had never watched the W before. And so I think that's what's really cool is it's opening the doors for this whole new generation of fans, and that's wonderful.
Well, let me give you a personal story from my perspective. I take care of my mom who has dementia. And I've told this, everyone that listens to the show knows this, but she loves Caitlin Clark. And it is,
great.
when it's time, when the fever are on, we are locked in, and she wants to know what Caitlin's doing, and she can easily identify her on the screen. Like it's remarkable. Like the ability for sports to touch so many people in so many different ways, Holly, and that's part of the reason you and I are both in this business is that ability to reach out and touch people is really remarkable.
Yeah, she is just captured people for some reason. And, I look at it like, why do people love her so much? I think she's super approachable. I think she's very friendly to her fans. But I honestly believe with my whole heart, it's the style of play. She passes the ball. She is playing at a pace that is breakneck speed, hitting shots that we didn't see women in college hit before. I just think she's really entertaining. At the end of the day, all is said and done, she is just really fun to watch, and I think that's what people are finding out.
Absolutely, and it doesn't hurt that like you said, she's doing things that other people haven't done before. I liken her honestly. I think she's Steph Curry, right? She's shooting the ball at places that no one's ever shot it from regularly. She's passing the ball. Steph's a brilliant passer, even though he doesn't do it nearly as much as she does. I just love the way that she's revolutionizing it. And of course, obviously, folks here in Louisiana have a little bit more of a personal affectation to Angel Reese because, she led LSU to a national championship with Kim Mulkey. I love it, to be honest with you, Holly. And not for nothing, just from a purely selfish standpoint, it's good content for our radio show, right? Like, when's the last time in July we were locking in and people were engaged in what was going on with the WNBA here in Louisiana, right? We don't have a team. So I love it. That to me is such a big deal to be able to have year-round content.
Yeah, I love it. And, we started with the Bayou Barbie, and I remember, oh my gosh, we're getting ready to do the national championship game. And I walk over, and there's a crown sitting on the bench, and I put it on my head, and I was like, I think this might be the first game that I've covered where one of the players just has her crown on the bench. And I have just absolutely fallen in love with Angel Reese because she is so unapologetically confident. She knows how beautiful, good, strong, capable, smart, intelligent she is, and she's not afraid to tell you about it. And I really love the way she carries herself. But even more so, I love the competitor she is. She has changed how Chicago's playing this year. She's the first rookie to ever have a double-double points and rebounds in the WNBA All-Star game. She played great. She looked incredible. And I think seeing her up against all these WNBA All-Stars in the national team, it made me realize she belongs in this league. And she is going to be, you mark my words, Angel Reese will be on the national team at the next Olympics in 4 years because she is that good, but she is also that determined to showcase how good she is.
Talking to Holly Rowe from ESPN, joining us on the Pearl Restaurant Hotline. Holly, you detailed for us at the kickoff dinner, and like I said in the intro, it was one of the best speeches that talks that we've ever had, and we've had some really good ones. You detailed kind of your journey. Everyone has watched you through the years remembers, oh, there's Holly, her head shaved, right? And then okay, she's going through a cancer battle. We maybe didn't know just how serious it was. You told us about how your doctor kind of said, hey, may need to just get your things in order, like this looks bad. You've come back from that. You told us you just had a scan and it was clean. I'm curious, what difference has that made for how you go about just kind of your day-to-day life when you have been there and kind of stared at death and it was right there in front of you and you've been able to come back and get a little bit of a new lease on life?
Yeah, I think it totally changes your life and changes your perspective. I felt like, this is going to sound so dramatic, but it's really true, is I felt like while I was dying, I was living better than I ever have. And by that, I mean, stuff is happening in your body and you keep getting spreads and you have to have more surgeries and you're going through grueling chemo and it can be overwhelming and terrifying. And so I got to a place where I would just start, I would take moments every day and have these little joy breaks. And I started keeping a joy journal. And every single day, something that made me so joyful, I would write it down in my joy journal. And I'll go back and look at that sometimes, and I just think of, oh, that made me so happy. Because I think what we do is we all get so busy about accomplishing tasks every day. And what am I doing? And did I get this done? And we stress out about all these things that don't really matter in life, instead of spending more time on the things that make you feel alive and make you feel joyful every single day. And so I feel like, I had a period there where I couldn't control what was happening to my body, and it was terrifying. And so the only thing I could focus on was, did I have a kick-ass day today? Like, did I absolutely live life to the fullest? We all have those bucket list things, and I just started doing stuff on my bucket list. I would travel. I started taking piano lessons. I got into a little band, and we put on a Christmas concert where I played the keyboards. And I just started living this bigger life because those were the days that I was promised. And I think, in some ways I don't want to be sick again because I'm really grateful. I got on something called immunotherapy that has saved my life. The V Foundation helped me get into a clinical trial that has saved my life. But I want to get back to still having those joyful moments every day and making sure that I am living my day today the best possible way I can, because it's the only day I'm promised.
It's interesting as well because, look, I call games, you call games. One thing we know is there is a tremendous double standard when it comes to appearance on television. Right? The women on television have to look a certain way or be made up a certain way. And you, as you lost your hair through chemo, you shaved it, you went with a wig. And then tell the story about how you finally, and who encouraged you to finally just be yourself and the reaction to that when you got on camera with the head shaved for the first time.
Yeah, I was on this really heavy-duty chemo drug called interferon, heavy-dose interferon, and it was devastating to me. And I would be in the shower, and anywhere I touched a shampoo, the hair would just come out in my hands in handfuls. And every day it was just coming out in bigger and bigger chunks. And I would be crying like, oh my gosh, what is happening to me? And my mom finally said, honey, just shave it off so you're not dying a small death every day with this hair falling out in your hands every day. So we did, and I got a wig and I got some cute scarves and things. But when you've lost your hair in cancer treatments, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can relate to this, you look sick on the outside kind of for the first time. When you're battling this and you haven't lost your hair, you kind of look normal, and people don't understand how sick you are. And so it puts you into this really vulnerable state of, oh my gosh, now people can see that I really am sick. And, being a bald woman, I think I looked okay, but, it's probably not the cutest I've ever looked in my life. And so I was trying to wear this heavy, hot, scratchy wig, and I went to practice at the LA Sparks one day, and Candace Parker, the great player from Tennessee, and Nneka Ogwumike from Stanford, they were playing for the Sparks, and they said, oh, you look so cute. Stop wearing your wig. You look fine. Your face is so pretty. And they just were my hype women and hyped me up. And that day happened to be the pink game for the LA Sparks to bring attention to women with breast cancer. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to be brave today because those women believe in me and they're telling me I look cute. So maybe I do. So I went on TV that day with my wig off, and you could see my bald head and my little stubbly hair that was just starting to come back in. And it was scary and it was hard to be vulnerable, but those women had my back and hyped me up. And from that point forward, everybody was really sweet about it. Nick Saban was really sweet. Brett Bielema and his wife were very sweet to me about it. I had lots of coaches that just kind of loved up on me in those moments and made me feel comfortable.
Isn't it amazing how, our own insecurities are so strong at times, and we don't realize that everyone else just wants us to be happy and wants to, that's the thing I take from what you said is, look, we all have those issues, right? Some days you wake up, you're like, man, my eyes are puffy. I'm just not looking good. But the people around you understand those things. Everyone else goes through the same things that you go through and have had, people that have had those kind of issues. And so they're wanting to love up on you and help you out and help you through it. I just love that story, Holly. I think that's a great testament to what humanity is and what it is really supposed to be in life, right? I just love that.
Yeah, like less judging, more loving. I think that would be a good lesson for all of us, because we never know what people are going through on the outside, and you might look at someone and think, oh, why is their hair this way, or why are they dressed this way, or whatever, and you might not know. For me, like some days I was just fighting to get out of bed. I was in so much pain, and my body hurt so bad. Some days I was just trying to get up and get moving, let alone try to look cute, So I think it's just really important that we are more loving to each other and supporting each other, because everybody's going through something.
Yeah, everyone's going through something you may not know. All right, let's end on a fun note. Looking forward, obviously we're about to get into the 12-team playoff era in college football. I know you told us you've got an assignment early on. I don't know how much you can reveal about what your schedule looks like yet, but what are you excited for in this upcoming college football season?
Yeah, I think I'm allowed to say it now because I saw someone print it. So we're doing our first game is going to be Notre Dame at Texas A&M, which is a monster game. Notre Dame is coming off a successful season, but they added a really good quarterback who's from down in your area in Mobile, Alabama. And I think he's from Fairhope, Alabama, actually, which is kind of across the bridge from Mobile. So not too far from you folks in Louisiana. But anyway, Riley Leonard was terrific for Duke last year, and he has transferred into Notre Dame. So I think Notre Dame is going to kind of immediately hit the ground running and be a very good football team. And then we get the LSU Tigers versus USC.
There you go.
Which I think is going to be really interesting. It's in Vegas. I think that is a really monster game because LSU, you think about these are two Heisman winners that they lost, Caleb Williams from 2 years ago and Jaden Daniels from this year at quarterback. So which team is going to fill that role better, quicker, and kind of hit the ground running, I think are two really important questions for LSU and USC.
And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, Riley Leonard played for Mike Elko, right, at Duke? And
yes.
So even a better storyline.
Storyline is very close. Yeah, exactly. Good pickup by you. So Mike Elko took the Texas A&M job after Jimbo Fisher was let go. He had a great year at Duke last year. We did 2 or 3 Duke games. They were 6-0 or 7-0 at one point last season before Riley Leonard got this ankle injury. But I think that game is going to be really good, and it really immediately launches someone into the playoff conversation right out of the gates week 1.
I need you to work in that the Allegiant Stadium in Vegas looks like a giant Roomba. Can you please work that in somewhere into the broadcast? It looks like
it's funny. When you drive by it in person, it really doesn't. It's cool. Have you been out there in person?
I've been by it. I haven't been in it. I've driven by it, and yes, ground level, it's impressive. But when you see it from above, the drone shots, that's just a Roomba. It's just sucking up sand.
It is one of the most beautiful stadiums I've ever worked in. And they have this really cool system where they just can kind of they have these big trays of turf. Mm-hmm. And so the turf just kind of rolls out of the loading dock, and then they can roll in another turf for college football or bowl season. And so it's really cool. Mark Davis did a great job on that stadium. It's really one of the cutting-edge excuse me, in the country. And I like working there because you can kind of walk from the Strip, walk over the bridge, and get there very easily. So fans are going to absolutely have a blast.
Yeah, and it's indoors in Vegas in August,
Yes.
September, which
Yes.
is the most
Yes.
important. Holly, absolutely wonderful of you to take some time and join us today. We really appreciate it. Thank you for coming down and speaking to us at the Indy Bowl Kickoff Dinner. Like I said, it was one of the best speeches we've ever had. It was awesome to hear your story, and obviously best of luck moving forward. And we'll be catching you on at least from the Roomba on USC and LSU in Vegas.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I absolutely loved my time in Shreveport. What wonderful people. The Independence Bowl folks were so incredible. The Radiance Technology folks were so nice to me. So I loved my experience, and I'm grateful I got to meet.
Did you get did they give you a gift like a grenade or like a shoulder fire missile or something? Like, did you at least get a good Radiance Technologies gift on the way out?
I know. I don't know what their gift bag would be, but let's work on that.
Yeah.
Let's brainstorm and see what could be portable that they make that we could actually use.
It's all defense technology, so I'm assuming some like laser-guided SAM missiles or something are in the offing. Well, just get us your address and we'll send you something.
I'll take a drone.
Yeah,
I'll take a
exactly.
drone
Like
for
just
the
a nice drone to run around and smite your enemies if you need to. I love it.
There we go.
I love it.
There we go.
Holly, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Holly Rowe from ESPN.